Hi, everyone. Welcome to Facebook Live. This week, we're continuing with my Paragon model, Forward Performance Pyramid, or Winning Mental Pyramid. And this session is all about life. And so at the bottom of the pyramid is your intrinsic relationship between your mood and subconscious. So what is mood? If I ask you, what is mood? Mood is how you feel, bottom line, forward line, and action. So how you feel? Some people say, well, if you start to move, you'll get the feeling and you'll be able to do what it is that you want to achieve. However, there are a lot of other tools to make you feel. So what we want to do is we want to feel fun and enjoyment before, during, and after. I have clients who come to me who say, I have fun and enjoyment either before or during or after or some mix or combination of those. But I don't have fun and enjoyment before, during, and after, all three. Sometimes my clients say that. And so in All About Life, I really believe that living life is fun, or it's supposed to be fun. And if it's not fun and enjoyable, then something's not right. And that's just the way that I approach life. And if you're in a situation like that, then there's most likely something occurring in different areas of your life that are causing this. And this is something that I help my clients with. And a lot of times what happens is individuals don't have the thinking tools, the concepts, the learning tools to know to make it fun and enjoyable before, during, and after. And that's really, really important for you to be able to have those tools, right? Because sometimes you've got to create your own fun and enjoyment, whether it's through your thinking, silently out loud, whatever it may be. Whatever we're doing, the objective is there, but it should have a much greater outcomes that you're thinking about that make it fun and enjoyable. And really, that's the excitement of living life. That's the excitement of life. And so that is essential, and that's what our mood is. We know what the bottom line is. The bottom line, when I'm referring to bottom line and the forward line, the bottom line is basically as you're achieving what it is that you want to achieve, you know that you will get this amount of outcome. You know that because you've most likely done it before or you're just aware that you will get that. However, as you're doing it, you should also have a forward line. And the reason is the forward line is what you achieve breakthroughs towards, right? You want to achieve something greater. And so that's very important before you start an activity to understand how to make it fun and enjoyable before so that you can feel like doing it instead of starting to do it and then feel like doing it. And then know what your bottom line is so you know exactly what you can get from this or receive from this activity you're doing. And then you want to know your forward line because you want to achieve. And so you're achieving something greater. And then, of course, action. We need the action, which is the actual movement, the whatever it is that we're doing the actual work or innovation, whatever it may be. So these is a very, very important concept. And the reason that it is associated with your subconscious is we know the subconscious is very, very important. However, we don't know a lot about subconscious. However, when we are able to activate our mood and feel good, feel excited, moods, there's infinite moods, and they can be instant. Moods can be instant. And then it has a relationship with subconscious. That's when you feel before, during, and after like you want to do something. So if you're like about to do something and you're thinking, what's the use? I don't want to do this, or here it goes again, or this is the same thing, whatever it may be. It's not necessarily that you're having a challenge with any other area, except for the fact that most likely, and a lot of people don't know this, your intrinsic relationship between your mood and subconscious has not been stoked. It has not been warmed up. It has not been prepared. It has not been given the proper fuel, the nutrition, so that when you're going in, you have that right amount of fun and enjoyment. And each situation is a little different, right? Sometimes you feel fun and enjoyment and you want to look excited and everything. And then sometimes you don't, but you're still having fun and enjoyment, but it's just a different situation. So that's essential that you feel fun and enjoyment all the way through. Now, you might think that, okay, I get that. So what are some examples? Well, one of the things that I do is a lot of times what impacts my mood is just wearing bright clothing. So when you see me, sometimes you'll notice that I'll wear something bright, especially when I'm on the platform, or when I just am feeling like, yeah, I need a little bit of a boost, then I'll put on something really bright and colorful, and I love that. And that immediately impacts my mood. Now, some other things, I just got back from my workout or session with my exercise functional physiologist, and she had me doing some exercises today that I hadn't done before. And of course, when I was doing one of the exercises, it of course eventually started to get, it was becoming difficult. It was becoming hard. And of course, I don't want anything hard. And so I looked and I was thinking to myself, and I, used all my keywords, my performance keywords like easy and what was another word that I use? Sometimes I use fun. But when it got to be like really, really challenging, it got to be hard. And sometimes I use the word compete. But when it got to be really hard, I used the word dream. And you know what it did? Dream took me out of the thinking of this is what I'm doing, okay? And put me into a thinking of, okay, here's my bottom line. My dream is my forward line. And I started seeing myself thinking about and dreaming, and it made the exercise that much easier. So what dream does is it gives you an incentive. It gives you it produces endorphins. You just need to use it at the right time, because obviously all day long you can't just think dream. In a way you can intermittently when you need it, and that's my point. And so that is a very, very valuable, high-value learning tool. Now, subconscious, we don't know much about. So now we've gone through the 4 layers of the winning mental pyramid, or the forward performance pyramid. And here's another example. For years, decades actually, I've known this person. They used to always call me this label. And I'm just going to use the word label. And I just went along with it for decades, and we have a great relationship. We're, great in that regard, and it's a very positive, sustainable relationship. And finally, one day, not one day, but 2 days ago, and I had to do it right, because if I didn't, then, and I knew probably what his response initially would be, and it was that, just because I know this person that well. And I asked him, you know what you called me, that label? He's like, what label? What label? And I was telling him, he's like, oh, no, don't worry about it. Don't think about that. Da, 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 da. And then finally, I could tell, like, I had to be careful, because just based on who he is, I didn't want him to become aggravated. And so I created a breakthrough in that relationship very carefully, and I asked him what it means exactly. And he said it means excellent, very good. So in other words, it's not quite excellent, very good. And so I was like talking with him. I was like, well, I'd much rather be excellent or very good, because if somebody tells me excellent, then obviously I feel the endorphins and I'm happy. If somebody says very good, obviously I feel the endorphins and I'm happy. But if somebody tells me excellent, very good, then it's a little bit confusing. And so I pointed that out to him, because I don't even think that he was aware that it was that type of label or word choice. And we both just started laughing. And sure enough, we created a positive, sustainable breakthrough in our relationship. And so now he uses a different way to where it says excellent. And so that's just an example, but just those small things, they literally add up, especially in positive, sustainable relationships. They're huge. And so that is essential. So we've been through all 4 levels of the forward performance pyramid, my Paragon model, and the winning mental pyramid. And so what does all this mean? Well, next week, I'll really get into detail on what that means. And it has to do with consciousness. When all of those are aligned, you have a higher consciousness, a achieving consciousness, a forward consciousness, a awareness consciousness, a mastery consciousness. And so I'll talk about that next week. And so my zone effect, as many of you know, the zone, as I define it, is when everything's in slow motion and it feels effortless, and you're really achieving a performance that is a breakthrough, or a performance that just is wow. And when you have those, that's what I'm calling the zone. A lot of people describe the zone, but in my business, what I do is I help people, individuals, teams, actually learn the tools to get in the zone more often, or put them in the zone more often. Because when you're in the zone more often, then obviously the outcomes will be better. And so my zone effect was, you already heard it, was just the interaction with someone I've known for decades. We have a great, positive, sustainable relationship. And just really understanding what that label meant, and actually being able to talk with him and tweaking it just a little bit and pointing out, making him aware. And that's just really made everything so much better. And so that's what I have for you this week. Your mood and subconscious, the intrinsic relationship between the two is highly important. And this is where a lot of the battle can be, I wouldn't say battle, but this is the area where a lot can be done with your relationships being positive and sustainable. Do you have the ability to actually have that interaction, that communication with one another that can understand that? Or does your mood flip or their mood flips and no one knows how to discuss it without getting too emotional or too upset or whatever it may be? So it's a very touchy area in some situations, but it's also essential and very important to continue building a positive, sustainable relationship, because mood changes are instant, just like that. And when you're working with someone, achieving together in a relationship, with your kids, married, playing sports, it doesn't matter. It's very, very important that you feel fun and enjoyment before, during, and after. And also the people that you're with or interacting with, or the person you're with or interacting with, and this is each interaction, also feels fun and enjoyment before, during, and after. And of course, because of life and all about life, that's very challenging at times, because everyone has things that are happening in their life that affect what they're doing to some extent, because those are private things or very personal things, and they don't want to come out and say what it is necessarily, just because it's going to cause maybe the mood to be more somber, or there's a challenge in their life, a difficult challenge, whatever it may be. And then sometimes it's good to just go ahead and say those, depending upon the situation, what that is, and to have some dialogue and just support the person or each other. And, that's essential too, because learning how to do that and learning the tools to do that is essential. Now, obviously, not everyone has that expertise and has that ability, because they don't really know how and what to do. They don't have the knowledge, the expertise, and that's what people come to me for, and that's what they hire me for. So if something here resonates with you, you can contact me at 864-569-2315 or Raj at rajgavrila.com. I hope you have a meaningful trigger for this evening. It's Friday. That's always a great, great feeling. I love Fridays. And so this evening, my meaningful trigger is I'm actually playing basketball late afternoon if the rain stops. And of course, after I play basketball, then it's really easy for me to rest and relax, because that takes a little bit of effort from me, right, to play some basketball. So I hope you have a meaningful trigger and a great, great weekend. And at 4 o'clock, I'll be talking about your intrinsic relationship between your mood and subconscious to experience intelligent breakthroughs in your sports performance in life.